welcome. You are watching BVC-Innerside. Today we have the pleasure of talking to Mr. Stephen Hill of CIN, which is the Caribbean International Network for our people. Mr. Hill, how are you doing?
I'm doing fine, Pam. Lovely to be here in New York to talk to you about the Caribbean International Network, which, as you know, has been airing content from the Caribbean to the Caribbean people in New York for the past 14 years.
That's wonderful.
So we have served a purpose, and we continue to bring the best in Caribbean content so that the over 2 million Caribbean people in New York can know what is going on, can know about their history, culture, but more importantly, that they can be up to date so they have a feeling of being Caribbean people. What happens in America is that you are inundated by American culture, which is great, but you can only keep your culture and feel good about yourself if you have your culture and your history being directed to you, so that when you go out, you feel that you have something that to be proud about. That's the importance of what television and media for ethnic people means. We started out 14 years ago, as you know, with Oliver. And Oliver is the famous Jamaican comedian, I think, who makes everybody laugh till your belly want to bust, as he says. And we started at the ungodly hour of 1 a.m. Sunday morning. In fact, the time was so bad that we said stay up and watch late Saturday night, because we thought it was just such a bad time. And we had such good ratings, Nielsen ratings, that we decided that we were going to go further. So we added the news, we added the sports. Today we have talk shows. Today we have soap operas. And also importantly, we have a lot of Caribbean content that's being produced for the people of New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut. What's Up New York, New York Links, and Caribbean lifestyle magazines. So we're basically trying to bring both content from the Caribbean, but also local content so that the people in New York can know what's going on in their community. As you know, television is really about two things. Distribution, that means you're getting your content to the populations wherever they may be. And the second thing is content, programming. And we pride ourselves that we bring the best in Caribbean programming to our audience. To answer your question specifically, next week, Sunday, we start with a wonderful new program called Lord Have Mercy, which is a wonderful comedy soap opera starring Leonie Forbes, who is an icon of Caribbean, of Jamaican, an actress in the Jamaican community. And the famous Oliver, he's back. He plays a reverend inside there. And we have just secured the rights to this program, and it starts airing next Sunday at 5:30 p.m. So it will be a wonderful, people constantly are calling or sending emails asking, where is Oliver? Why don't you bring new Oliver programs? Well, we're starting next week, Sunday.
Welcome back. For those of you who have just joined us, you are watching a special edition of BVC-Innerside, and we are here with Mr. Stephen Hill. So, Mr. Stephen Hill, tell us a little more about the Caribbean International Network and where it's going next.
Well, as I said, Pam, we started with Oliver 14 years ago at that crazy hour of 1 a.m. Sunday morning. And since then, we have news, we have sports, we have Hill and Gully, which is probably the most popular program on the CIN lineup. as people say to me in New York, look, we want to see people like ourselves from the countryside, people who talk like us, people who are straightforward and honest, and we don't want to see those politicians, those talking heads. And I laugh, because in a sense, they want people who can direct and they can basically associate with. So Hill and Gully is a wonderful program. We also have at 7:30 on Sunday, in that very important time slot, What's Up New York, which is a news magazine about what's going on in New York, news, entertainment, a health section, but very important because the local community needs to know about themselves and about the events. Probably the most famous person in media today, Rupert Murdoch, said that the key to television is local programming. And we at CIN, as you know, have started to grow more local content. What's Up New York was the first one. Then we moved to New York Links. And the third one is Caribbean Lifestyle Magazine, which airs Sunday at 11:30 p.m. Great program. It's a program where we get personalities who are important or of interest, both in the United States and in the Caribbean, and they interview them for an hour. They just did they were in Jamaica, and they did a wonderful interview with the president of the Jamaica Olympic Committee, Mike Fennell. As you know, Jamaica was wonderful at the Olympics and scored a lot of gold medals. So they did an interview with him. They did an interview with the Spanish ambassador, Jesus Silva, because the Spanish are the biggest investors in Jamaica over the last 5 years. Their direct investment in Jamaica in hotels has been over $1.5 billion US dollars. So clearly, these programs are current. They keep people up to date, and CIN is dedicated to bring new and interesting and compelling programming to our large audience in New York.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Because I myself have watched Caribbean International Network, and you're doing a great job.
We have to understand what media is all about, Pam. The world is controlled and influenced by the media houses, and there are 5 big ones. There is NBC, there is Fox, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch. There's the Disney channel, which is basically ABC. And then you have 2 large ones overseas, Berlusconi in Italy and Bertelsmann in Germany. Now, what do? They basically have the attention of the whole world, and they basically decide what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. And they basically continue to trumpet their values to everyone, so that people in the Caribbean, people in India, people in China tend to feel that they have to follow the trends that these media companies are setting. If the ethnic and the emerging markets do not develop their own media platforms, so that we can get our message to our people, first of all, so that they understand what is going on within our economies and societies. The international media will always be biased and will always report information that is unfair to emerging markets. A good example, you never see anything positive about Jamaica or Trinidad. The only time you hear anything on any of these media platforms is when there is a riot or there is a hurricane or somebody has been killed in these countries. There's a lot more going on in that, I can tell you. There's a lot of economic progress being made. There's a lot of beauty. There's a wonderful a society that's multiracial, that lives in harmony, and we want to basically present that to the world. But as I said, the 5 media companies, they put what they want, and so we at CIN, in a small little way, each day of the week, present the news, the entertainment, so that our people can log on and know that there's a lot of good things happening in Jamaica, Trinidad, Barbados, Guyana, throughout the whole Caribbean. And I can tell you, it will make the people prouder and more confident and more effective citizens as they reside in America.
Right, because we see ourselves in a positive light.
Absolutely.
It's a positive light in which we can view, and our children can see our culture being emulated, being shown to the rest of the world. That's wonderful.
That's important. The other thing that I think we need to also do is entertain our community, because television, in a sense, is entertainment. It clearly has an influence on the way we think and the way the actions that we do. But entertainment in the sense that people want to come home from work, sit down, watch television, and relax. And CIN, basically in New York, today is showing more music programs than from the Caribbean, whether it's dancehall, whether it's reggae, whether it's soca. We're the only platform in the tri-state area that's showing 15 hours of Caribbean music. BET doesn't do it. MTV doesn't do it. And MTV, as you know, has several channels. So we providing the music, the excitement, the harmony, and the whole thrill that music brings to the world. So the kids can zoom in, the older people have their thing, but we are again providing an important source of entertainment and also revenue for those artists, because a small artist in Jamaica who comes on CIN can be tomorrow's Sean Paul.
True.
You follow? Or Marshall Montana. Everybody has to have a platform. And do you think MTV is going to show an unknown artist? I mean, they might show an occasional Beanie Man, or they might show an occasional Sean Paul, but there are hundreds and thousands of young artists coming up in Trinidad, in Jamaica, and they need outlets and platforms for their music.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. In that light, I know that the news were very surprised when Marshall Montano sold out at Madison Square Garden overnight within a few hours, and the headlines read the next day, who is this person? So this is where CIN comes in. This way CIN can let everyone know this is who this person is,
Very important. And you said something that's very important. That concert was successful, so Marshall Montana became a bigger star, made more money, and the local Caribbean promoters made money. Likewise, if you don't have platforms like CIN, how are the exporters of Caribbean products and services going to grow their businesses in the Caribbean? The only reason that you can grow your business is to have a television platform or a radio platform or a print platform constantly advertise your product. Today, look at Coca-Cola or look at Pepsi. Why have they become giants in the soft drink industry? Because they have the big networks where they advertise. Well, you know what? Today you have a CIN where if it's D&G soft drinks or if it's some of the chubby out of Trinidad, they can now put their products on television, and the Caribbean people can say, wow, I can get a chubby or I can get a D&G soft drink. Exposure and rotation. Same thing with patties or jerk chicken or any of the Grace canned products. if you don't have the platforms, you can't grow your business. Therefore, you can't earn more money, you can't make more profit, and you can't expand your factories, and you can't employ more people. It's a cycle that basically ends at the end of the day with an advertising campaign which makes you grow your products. And we see what has happened with jerk chicken. We see what has happened with a Lowell Hawthorne, who has moved from a small outlet, Gun Hill, 10 years ago, and today he has 122 outlets in the United States.
Wonderful.
So the whole, look, economic progress, we have to understand, requires some essential framework, which is basically a dedicated and an educated set of people, but it also entails having platforms that can present your messages, your people, and your products.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. And we're glad that you are providing that for us in the Caribbean. You know, trying to get our views, not just our views, but our entertainment, the things that we eat, everything out there into the open where it can be seen and it can be built upon and expanded, you know, and more or less explode.
That's know? Right. That's right. We have to look at what America is all about. America is a free enterprise system. It allows you to achieve the impossible. I mean, you look at Barack Obama. Who would have thought that in our lifetime you'd have seen a black president? In another 20 years, you might have a Caribbean person being the president. You have the governor of New York, Patterson. His parents are from the Caribbean, St. Lucia and Jamaica. So you know, if you're going to be in America, what you have to do is emulate the platforms that allow you to be a success and improve upon them. We don't want to be secondary all the time. You just look at Brazil today. Brazil, they're what they call the BRIC countries. Brazil, China, India, and Russia today are having an ever more important influence in the economic world. That never happened years ago. So we have an evolution where the emerging countries are becoming more astute at becoming more successful in the global economic arena. And it's basically bringing platforms and bringing the important institutions to the people so that you can create the success.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. I have, you know, I'd love to see where all this ends, because I can see a great things for the Caribbean International Network, you know, not just in the Caribbean, but probably just expanding way beyond that.
Well, look, I always say to people, take it one step at a time. We came into New York with a half-an-hour program 14 years ago. Today we have close to 30 hours of programming in New York. But not only New York, we're now in New Jersey and New Connecticut. And I can tell the people this. Since the beginning of this year, our programming is reaching as far as Virginia down to Boston. And that is because Channel 25 is now being shown all along that northeastern corridor. So in fact, we are getting our programming, our message, our influence to all of those Caribbean people who live along this northeastern corridor, and it can only impact them positively. Because what CIN is doing is only presenting the positive things from the Caribbean. Yes, we do have crime. Yes, we do have mishaps. But certainly the whole world has these incidents occurring. But we need to report all of these positive things and keep repeating it so that our people feel good about themselves. Because if they don't feel good about themselves, they don't become successful. At the Olympics this year, I was fortunate to attend the Olympics in China. And I have attended 4 successive Olympics. And I will say this, nothing has ever equaled what Usain Bolt did at China. And I doubt if it will ever be surpassed. I mean, life is progress. But it was something that was phenomenal. In fact, when he won the 100 meters, the place was hushed because I don't think the people knew what had occurred. His time of 9.69 was so phenomenal. I was in the press arena, and people were looking at each other in amazement because they weren't certain that the scoreboard had the right time. So in the world of athletics, in the world of music, in the world of scholarship, in every field, we can do it. But we have to achieve the reinforcement that media brings to our people scattered throughout the world. And I don't only want people to feel that CIN is the beginning and end of television. If there are other television platforms that come up, it will only enhance the information that we are getting to our people. Today, information is the most valuable commodity in the world. And we need to get that information so that we can influence the decisions of our people.
But this is a platform that our people can also have and use, to show the rest of the world what we can do. And we can have others, emulate what we do as well.
Absolutely. Look, we're not, I don't think people should be narcissistic. The one thing that always rings in my ear is when I listen to American television, and I always hear, whether it's the president or leaders in the system, say, we are the greatest this, we are the greatest that. And you sort of say to yourself, how do you constantly keep saying we are the greatest? You don't have to be the greatest. The greatness comes to those who are applauded by others. And we all have to just basically try to achieve the best. And if we try to achieve the best, hopefully we'll become great. But nobody needs to say we are the greatest. We need to just work hard, think well, and succeed.
Today we have an exclusive interview here with Mr. Stephen Hill of the Caribbean International Network, and he is going to tell us, what
CIN is going to be doing, and blow my own trumpet, as you say, like the Americans like to do.
It pays sometimes.
Well, look, Pam, as you know, we keep every day of the week touching the Caribbean community in New York with news and information, culture and history. And we feel happy that after 14 years, we keep growing. We started out as a half-an-hour program 14 years ago with Oliver, and today we have close to 30 hours of programming. Sunday is our biggest day because we start at 9 a.m. in the morning and we run till almost 11 p.m. in the night with a couple of breaks during that period. We have also grown in the sense that we are now reaching a lot more people than we used to. When we started, we were on Channel 73, and Channel 73, as you know, was reaching the 5 boroughs of New York. Today, we are reaching the tri-state of the northeastern part of the United States, which is New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut, and we are touching 15 million people. That doesn't mean that 15 million people are watching us, but there are 2 million Caribbean people within the tri-states, so they can pick us up and sit down, enjoy, be entertained, and learn. We also have are now being carried by Verizon on Channel 25, and that's going as far as Virginia down to Boston. So with the Verizon channel, it's now a platform, and they're presenting a number of channels, and including Channel 25, we have increased our viewership. I think CIN is a strategic platform. Strategic in the sense that it now allows the Caribbean people in the largest media market in the world to have a foothold to present our opinion, our views, our understanding of the world as we see it, and also for the world to take a look at Caribbean people. The information that is disseminated today by the large media houses tends to be biased, and it's biased against emerging countries like Jamaica, Trinidad, China, because they're reporting it from their point of view. What we are doing is reporting it to our people in a factual way, bringing out a lot of the positive things, making people feel that there are a lot of reasons to go back home, to travel, to send and support their families back home, but also to reinforce them in the metropolitan cities of the United States so that they become more efficient, more assured, and effectively better citizens of the United States. An informed person is always a better citizen than an ignorant person. And CIN plays an important role in making that person a better citizen of the United States.